Did you know that the top 1% of the world's population holds over 45% of the world's wealth? Yes, you heard that right. This is the reality of globalization. Welcome to the world of globalization, a phenomenon shaping our lives in ways we don't even realize. It's like a giant, unseen hand molding the world, dictating who gets the larger slice of the pie. But is this hand fair? Is it just, well, let's dive in to find out. Imagine a world where the rules of the game are written by the few for the few. A world where the rich get richer and the poor, well, they get the picture. That's the world we're living in, a world shaped by globalization. Globalization in its simplest form is the process of interaction and integration among people, companies, and governments worldwide. It's a complex and multifaceted phenomenon driven by international trade and investment, aided by information technology. Sounds fancy, right? But what does it really mean for us, the average Joes and Janes? Well, for starters, it means that the wealth of the world is increasingly concentrated in the hands of a few. While the global economy has grown, the gap between the haves and the have-nots has widened. The top 1% now hold almost half the world's wealth. That's like one person in a room of 100 owning nearly half the room's worth of goods. Crazy, isn't it? But it doesn't stop there. This concentration of wealth has profound implications for economies, societies, and cultures around the globe. It influences how we live, work, and interact with each other. It dictates who gets the good jobs, the fancy houses, the quality education. It even influences our politics, our policies, our very identities. So, as we stand on the brink of a new era, we must ask ourselves, is this the world we want? A world where the rich get richer and the poor struggle to keep up? A world governed by the whims of the few at the expense of the many? So who are the winners and losers in this global game? Stay tuned to find out. Picture a surfer riding a giant wave. That's how the winners of globalization are, riding the wave and reaping the benefits. Now, who are these savvy surfers? Let's take a closer look. At the top of the list, we have multinational corporations. These companies have their fingers in pies across the globe, leveraging economies of scale, accessing new markets, and sourcing cheaper labor. Think about your favorite tech gadget. It's likely designed in one country, manufactured in another, and sold worldwide. That's globalization at work. Then we have developed nations. These countries have the resources and infrastructure to compete on a global scale. They're like experienced surfers with high-tech surfboards, able to navigate the wave with ease. They benefit from access to a greater variety of goods and services and at lower prices. Plus, their citizens often enjoy increased job opportunities in sectors like technology, finance, and communication. But it's not just big corporations and countries catching the wave. Skilled workers are also winners in the globalization game. With businesses operating across borders, opportunities for talented individuals have expanded. You're a software engineer in India? Cool, you can work for a tech giant in the US. You're a designer in Spain? Great, you can collaborate with a fashion house in France. Globalization has blurred geographical boundaries, and the world has become a playground for those with the right skills. But let's sprinkle in some facts and figures for good measure. According to a report by the World Bank, globalization has helped reduce poverty worldwide. In 25 years, the number of people living in extreme poverty has dropped by over 1 billion. That's 1 billion lives improved because of globalization. So there you have it. The multinational corporations, developed nations, and skilled workers are the ones riding the globalization wave, enjoying the thrill and the view from the top. But what happens to those who can't catch the wave? Let's dive deeper into that. Imagine being caught in a rip current, struggling to stay afloat. That's the plight of the losers in the game of globalization. Picture this. You're a local artist, handcrafting intricate pottery that's been a part of your community's heritage for centuries. Suddenly, cheap, mass-produced versions of your craft made halfway around the world flood your local market. Your livelihood, your art, is threatened. That's one face of globalization, the erosion of local cultures and economies. Traditional crafts, local industries, even unique dialects and languages are being swallowed by the global tide. The world is becoming a homogenized soup, where distinct flavors are being lost in the rush towards uniformity. Moving on, let's talk about job losses. Here's a chilling fact. In the United States alone, more than 5 million manufacturing jobs have vanished since the turn of the millennium. That's equivalent to the entire population of Norway. Globalization, with its outsourcing and offshoring, has hit certain sectors particularly hard. Then there's income inequality. The rich are getting richer, while the poor are treading water, if they're lucky. The 8 richest people on Earth now hold wealth equal to the bottom half of the world's population. That's a staggering imbalance. Yet it's not all doom and gloom. In many ways, globalization is a double-edged sword. It has created new opportunities, new markets, and new wealth. But at the same time, it has widened the gap between the haves and the have-nots, threatening to capsize the boat for those struggling to stay afloat. In this vast, interconnected world, the currents of globalization can pull you under if you're not prepared. But remember, every current has an undercurrent. There are ways to navigate these turbulent waters, to harness the power of globalization without losing sight of our local identities and values. It's a tough reality, isn't it? But can we change this? Let's explore. We've seen the winners and losers. Now, how do we balance the scales? Let's dive into potential solutions to address the negative impacts of globalization. Just as the world is full of diverse cultures and ideas, the solutions are equally diverse, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach. First up, fair trade policies. Imagine a world where every business transaction is like a handshake, firm, fair, and respectful. That's the essence of fair trade. It's about creating an equal playing field where all nations, regardless of their size or economic strength, can benefit from global trade. It's about ensuring that the money you spend on your morning coffee helps the farmer who grew those beans, and not just the multinational coffee chain. Next, we have to talk about supporting local industries. In a world where you can buy a t-shirt made halfway across the globe, it's easy to overlook the talent in our own backyards. But local industries are the heart and soul of our economies. By supporting them, we can help create jobs and reduce the negative impacts of globalization. So the next time you're shopping, perhaps consider that local artisan who makes stunning handcrafted jewelry, or the family-run bakery that makes the best sourdough in town. Last, but certainly not least, is cultural preservation. In a world that's increasingly connected, it's important to remember that our diversity is our strength. Every culture, every tradition, every language adds a unique flavor to the global melting pot. So let's celebrate our differences, let's preserve our cultural heritage, and let's ensure that the world of tomorrow is as colorful and diverse as the one we have today. As we navigate the choppy waters of globalization, these solutions can serve as our compass, guiding us towards a more equitable world. But remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It requires dedication, perseverance, and a collective effort. The game isn't over yet. There's always hope for change. So what's next in this global saga? Let's take a glimpse into the future. The world is not slowing down, and neither is globalization. As we look ahead, we see a future shaped by rapid technological advancements, policy changes, and shifts in global power dynamics. Imagine, for instance, a world where technology has blurred the lines between countries further. We're already witnessing the power of the digital revolution. Work from home, more like work from anywhere. The internet has made it possible for us to connect, collaborate, and create across borders. But here's the kicker. As technology progresses, we're not just talking about the internet anymore. We're talking about artificial intelligence, blockchain, automation, and so much more. These advancements are set to redefine how we live, work, and interact on a global scale. And then there's policy. Laws and regulations around trade, immigration, and national identity are bound to evolve. With each change, the winners and losers of globalization may shift. Countries once at the bottom could rise, and those at the top could face new challenges. Now let's talk about power. The global stage has historically been dominated by a handful of nations, but this could change. Emerging economies are gaining traction, and with this shift, the balance of power could be up for grabs. This is not just about economics, but culture, influence, and identity too. But remember, the future is not set in stone. It is shaped by choices made by governments, businesses, and individuals like you and me. Our actions today will determine the path we take, the challenges we face, and the opportunities we seize in this ever-globalizing world. In this global game, the rules are constantly changing. Adaptability, resilience, and knowledge are key. As we traverse this exciting, unpredictable landscape, let's remember to stay informed, stay ahead. Thanks for watching.